Okay, so let's discuss the different storage classes we have for Amazon S3. The first one is Amazon S3 Standard, general purpose. Then we have Amazon S3 Infrequent Access. Then we have Amazon S3 One Zone Infrequent Access. Then we have Glacier Instant Retrieval, Glacier Flexible Retrieval, Glacier Deep Archive, and then finally the Amazon S3 Intelligent Tiering. So we'll learn about all these classes in depth in this lecture, but you have to know them for the exam. Then when you create an object in Amazon S3, you can choose its class. You can also modify its storage class manually. Or as we'll see as well, you can use Amazon S3 lifecycle configurations to move objects automatically between all these storage classes. So first, before we go into the classes, let's define the concept of durability and availability. So durability represents how many times an object is going to be lost by Amazon S3. And so Amazon S3 has a very high durability. It's called 11.9, so 99 point and then 9 times 9%. And that means that on average, if you store 10 million objects on Amazon S3, you can expect to lose a single object once every 10,000 years. So it's quite durable. And the durability is the same for all storage classes in Amazon S3. Availability represents how readily a service is. And so this depends on the storage class. For example, S3 standard has a 99.99% availability. That means that about 53 minutes a year, the service is not going to be available. That means that you will get some errors when you deal with the service. So you need to take that into account when you develop your applications. Okay, so S3 standard has 99.99 availability. It's going to be used for frequently accessed data. This is the kind of storage you use by default. And it has low latency and high throughput. It can sustain 2 concurrent facility failures on the side of AWS, and the use cases for it is going to be big data analytics, mobile and gaming application, as well as content distribution. Next, we have S3 infrequent access. So this is data that is going to be, as the name indicates, less frequently accessed, but requires rapid access when needed. It's going to be lower cost than S3 standard, but you will have a cost on retrieval. So the S3 standard IA is 99.9% availability, so a bit less available. And the use case for it is going to be disaster recovery and backups. And Amazon S3 One Zone Infrequent Access, One Zone IA, has high durability, okay, within a single AZ only. And the data is going to be lost if the AZ is somewhat destroyed. As well as durability, it's even lower, so it's 99.5% availability. And so the use cases of S3 One Zone IA is to store secondary copies of backups of maybe on-premises data or data you can recreate. Next, we have the Glacier storage classes. So Glacier is, as the name indicates, very cold. So it's low-cost object storage meant for archiving and backup. And the pricing is that you're going to pay per the storage plus pay for a retrieval cost. In your 3 classes of storage within Glacier, you have the Amazon S3 Glacier Instant Retrieval. And this gives you milliseconds retrieval, which is great, for example, for data that's accessed once a quarter. And the minimum storage duration is 90 days. So this is backup, but you need to access it within milliseconds. Then we have the Glacier Flexible Retrieval. It used to be called Amazon S3 Glacier, but then they renamed things as they added more tier. So the Amazon Glacier Flexible Retrieval has 3 flexibilities. So you have expedited, where you get the data back between 1 and 5 minutes. You have standard to get the data back between 3 to 5 hours, or bulk, which is free, where you get the data back between 5 to 12 hours. And the minimum storage duration as well is 90 days. So here, instant means you retrieve the data instantly, and flexible means that you're willing to wait up to, for example, 12 hours to retrieve your data. And then we have Glacier Deep Archive, which is meant for long-term storage. So we have 2 tiers of retrieval as well. We have standard of 12 hours and bulk of 48 hours. So you may be ready to wait a lot of time to retrieve data, but it's going to give you the lowest cost, and as well, the minimum storage duration is 180 days. So as you know, that's a lot of storage classes, and there's one last called S3 Intelligent Tiering, which is going to allow you to move objects between access tiers based on usage patterns. And for this, you're going to incur a small monthly monitoring fee and auto tiering fee. And there are no retrieval charges in S3 Intelligent Tiering. So there is the frequent access tier, that's automatic, that's the default tier. Then we have the infrequent access tier for objects not accessed, for example, for 30 days. Then you have the archive instant access tier, automatic as well, for objects not accessed over 90 days. And then the archive access tier, that's optional. And you can configure it from 90 days to 700 plus days. And then you have the deep archive access tier, also optional, that you can configure for objects that haven't been accessed between 180 days to 700 plus days. Okay? So S3 instruction tiering is really to allow you to just sit back and relax while S3 moves objects for you. So if we compare all the storage classes, you don't need to remember these numbers, but it's just for you to make sense of what they are. So you get durability of 11 nines everywhere. Then the availability goes down the less zones you have, of course. It just shows you, like, for example, the minimum storage duration charge and so on. So take some time to look at this diagram on your own. You should understand it, but you should not remember it for sure. So if we look at some pricing, for example, in US East 1, so this is the kind of pricing you would have for all the storage classes. And again, you're not supposed to remember everything, but it's good for you to have a look at it on your own time just to make sure you understand, because if you understand what the classes' name are, then you should be able to make sense of these classes, okay? So that's it for this lecture. I hope you liked it, and I will see you in the next lecture.